Hello and welcome. We are going to study about the states in the reactjs library. So I'm repeating again and again. It's a library. It's not a framework. Many people do this mistake, and it's basically a library, not a framework. So we'll see how the states work in the reactjs component, and we'll see how we can manage the state, how we can get the value, access the value of the state property, and how we can manage the state in the class based component and the function based component, right? So let's start today's lecture. So basically, React component has a built-in state objects. So whenever we are creating the component in the React.js library, using the React.js library, so basically the component has a built-in state object, right? And the state object has as many properties as you want. So basically component has as many properties as you want, and you put all the properties in a state object. Why? Because state object, whenever a state object changes, the component re-renders. So you change the property of some state object property has been changed, maybe by clicking the button or by typing in the input field. So you want that this change reflects promptly. So basically you use the state object. Okay, so the state object is initializing the constructor. So we know that components, and especially the class based component, has the constructor, and we initialize the state object in the constructor. So this, because this is the first function and the special function which is called whenever a component mounted. So we initialize the state object in this constructor, right? So in short, for example, a state object has been changed and we change the brand name. So the component re-renders and we can see the update and the updated value of the brand promptly, right? And the state object can contain as many properties as you want. You can place hundreds of properties in a single state object, right? And how we can use the state object, it's basically very simple. So we know that in a class based component we use the this keyword, and this means that this event or this component, and we put the dot, this dot, and we get the state object which we have defined in the constructor, right? This dot state, and we put all this in a curly braces, because curly braces tells the compiler that we have to get the value of this dot state and dot year, which is the property inside the state object. Because if we don't put the curly braces, it will be printed as it is, right? Then we have to change the state object. How we use the different methods, and how can we change the and update the value, property name, property value, or the state object. We use the this dot set state method. So class has the built-in state object. Similarly, it has the this dot set state method, and it tells the component and the lifecycle method that the value has been changed and the component needs to be re-rendered. Re-renders mean again reload, or you can think of reloading. Okay, so component has mounted, but the value of the state has been changed, so the component will be re-rendered, right? So and in the functional based component, I'll tell you, we'll practice it as well, that how can we change and how can we get the value and how can we manage the state basically. So we use set method, and this method should be used because it ensures that the value and the state object has been updated, and I need to call the render method uh, and the other lifecycle methods such as component did update and all that to manage the component, right? So let's move towards the coding part and the implementation part. Here you go. So basically we have a parent component. Let me show you the output of this. This is a parent component, so make it some, add some style in this. Let's add some margin of 200 pixel, let's say, and 220, and add a color in this. So basically we can add, let's say we have a blue color. Okay, so this is a parent class component as I have written over here, right? So let's say this is a class based component. We can see I am using the class keyword, and we are extending the react component, which is the parent class, inheriting it, and we are using the render method. So this is a class based component, and I have to use the state object in this. So I'll do is I'll do this, initialize the constructor. I'll call the super method to get all the necessary functions and the properties of the react component class, which is the parent class. Okay, and super method, and what I'll do is I'll initialize the state object like this, and I'll put the key value, use the key value format here, right? So like this dot state, I can use the brand over here. Sorry, so I can use brand. I can use like Bentley, okay, and I can do like model. Model is 2024, right? So the state has been initialized. Now I want to use the state here. So state value is state value is I'll type the curly braces, and inside the curly braces I'll get the value. First I'll get the state, this dot state, and then whatever the property I want. So I want brand. So brand is this, and model of car is similarly this dot state dot model, right? So let's check. So you can see over here. So we'll not do like this. Let's do this green, and add a separate style over here, and do something like this. So now you can see over here, okay, this is green and this is blue, right? So let's do this as, let's make it control shift control and D, and it will get the other P as well, and let's do this H3, and now it is now bold heading 3 style. Okay, so you can see over here we are getting the value of the state. So this is a class based component. So what if I have to what if I have to change the value? Okay, so I'll do just like this dot state equals to what I want to change. Like if I want to change the car, like I can do like this Audi. Okay, simple. Okay, sorry, in the render method I can do like this. So if I show you, brand name has been changed and model of car is nothing. So basically this is what I want to show, that I have to give the complete here, something like this, 2023, let's say. Now you can see over here. Okay, so what if I want to change the brand? So if I want to change the brand, I can do like this maybe. Let me see. So now you can see over here, right? Model is same as defined here, and I have to change some, just like the brand. So I will do like this. right? So what if I have to use the states in the function based component? I want to change and add an event handler as well. So I'll do like let's say I have a functional based component function, and uh, let's call it as child. So child, and I will just write the return method over here, and let's use this as it is. uh, Child function component, and now I have to define. So let's call the child component over here child. Okay, so child, and what I'll do if I have to use the states here, I don't have the constructor and I can't use the this dot, the state. So I have to use the, because the class based component has their lifecycle methods like component did mount and component did update and component will unmount, something like that. So function based component doesn't have like life cycle method. So I'll use the hooks. Function based component has the life cycle method, but we can't use the life cycle methods. Like in the class based component, I can use like component did catch and component did update, something like that. These are the life cycle method. But in the function based component, I have to use the hooks, and hooks were introduced after the in the later version, like maybe after 15 or 16th version of the reactjs library. So what I'll do it, I'll define the state like I can define mm, like channel name. Okay, channel name and a setter method in this case, because we can't use the this dot set state or this dot state, right? So what I'll do is I'll have a setter method. I can name whatever I want, channel name, and we can use the use state hook. So use state hook is used in this case to manage the state. Or I can have the initial value like code ideology, right? Or I'm sorry, code ideology. So what if I have to use, so yellow, and let's do this red. This is a child, and I can do this channel name is, so I have to access this channel name now. So I will not do like this dot state and dot channel name. So I'll just do channel name, and that's it. I can access the value of the channel name, and you can see this. So let me just margin bottom 0 pixel. Okay, now you can see this. Okay, so I'll remove the margin here, and now you can see this. This is a child function, and let me change the color. Let's mark it as like brown. Okay, so this is the parent component, and this is the child function component, and the channel name is code ideology. So what if I have to change the state? So this is very important concept over here. So if I'll do it like this, set channel name, and I'll do like uh, code over here, so it will give me an error. So what it says that limits the number of renders to prevent the infinite loop. So basically I told you that if the state is changed, then the component will be re-rendered. So here the component will be called and component will be rendered, child component. Okay, so it will initialize the state and then it will update the value of the state. So on update of the value of the state, the component will be re-rendered. Okay, then again it will initialize the state and update the value. Then again it will initialize and update the value. So it will goes to, like, it will stuck in the infinite loop, right? So we can't update the value of the state like this. So usually we don't do this. What we do is, when some event occurs, user press the button or user types or user hover the mouse over some element, then only we will update the value of the state. So let's do like that. Okay, so let me just button click me to change state. Okay, click me to capitalize, and let's just create a function over here which will handle the click of the button and change the value of the state. So let's say we have an arrow function which does like handle, or we can do this. Okay, handle button click, right? Over here. So on change the on click of the button, we'll do this code ideology, right? So when I click this button, it will call a method which is handle click. It will call this function, and this function will change the value of the state. So now the function will not be re-rendered unnecessarily, right? It will only be called when state is being changed in this function handle button click, and this function will only be called when a on click event will be occurred on this button, right? So let me just show you. So channel name is code ideology, and when I click it, it is not updating the value. So why is that? Let's just see. Okay, so basically, on click event is called click me to capitalize, and set channel name is called. So what is the issue? Let's just see on the console, and it says that, okay. So let's see. On the on click event, we call the handle button click method. So in the handle button click, let's just print and see console dot. Okay, so in function. So let's see if this will be okay. It is not going into the function, right? So why is that? Why is that? So I think I'll do like this. I'll call a method. So now you can see this was the and it is printing as well. So let me just remove it, and this was the uh, because this was the mistake that we are calling the function, we have not put the braces over here. So now you can see when I click on the button, and it will only update the state and the function component will be re-rendered, right? So we are not re-rendering the component unnecessarily. So this is how you can update the value of the state and initialize the state in the class based component. And this is how you can initialize the state and the setter method with that, and you can handle the states on click of the event. uh, Either it can be in a function based component or the class based component, right? So if you don't want to use the arrow function notation, what you can do is remove that, and you can do like this function. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.